But since over the weekend, a travel ban has been instituted from South Africa and 7 other African countries. On your screen right now is what is in effect amid the threat of this new COVID variant.
So today I want to take a few moments to talk about the new COVID variant, first identified last week in Southern Africa. It's called the Omicron. But while we have that travel restrictions can slow the speed of Omicron, it cannot prevent it. But here's what it does. It gives us time. This variant is a cause for concern, not a cause for panic. And we'll fight this variant with scientific and knowledgeable actions and speed. If people are vaccinated and wear their masks, there's no need for the lockdown.
Well, Biden's new ban is getting a lot of pushback, Sean, including from the president of South Africa, who said he was deeply disappointed, calling Biden's move unjustified. He demanded President Biden lift all bans, saying that there's no scientific basis for the ban.
You know, this reminds me of a time when I was in the White House talking about bans, and then when President Trump had first set into place at the beginning of the pandemic, another ban trying to protect the country. And remember the Democrats then, when President Trump said, I'm going to shut down travel and ban certain things, how they reacted, how then candidate Biden reacted. He was saying a wall will not stop the coronavirus. Banning all travel from Europe or any other part of the world will not stop it. He also said Trump further diminished the U.S. in the eyes of the world by expanding his travel ban. This new African ban is designed to make it harder for black and brown people to immigrate to the United States. It's a disgrace, and we cannot let him succeed. And finally, he said this: we need to lead the way with science, not Donald Trump's record of hysteria, xenophobia, and fear-mongering. Gosh, here's what Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, said today when asked about those very tweets from now the President of the United States instituting a ban from African countries. I'm sure she's going to say he was... Well, let's let Jen say it best.
What the president was critical of was the way that the former president put out, I believe, a xenophobic tweet and how he called what he called the coronavirus and who he directed it at.
Blah, 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 blah. I mean...
Interesting perspective there. Shaw, but even Nancy Pelosi, she tweeted at the time this quote: the Trump administration's expansions of its un-American travel ban is a threat to our security, our values, and the rule of law, end of her tweet. And you can't forget how the media actually reacted back in 2020. The Boston Globe said this quote: Trump's xenophobic travel ban punishes Americans above all. And CNN said the U.S. coronavirus travel ban could backfire. And here's how the article mentions stigmatizing countries and ethnicities. So President Biden continued to get a lot of pushback specifically on that, but also because he's urging Americans to continue to get vaccinated, boosters, and mask up. But people are calling him out on that because he's not following his own rules there, Sean.
Imagine that. That's right. You know, he was spotted shopping in Nantucket inside a store without wearing a mask. A shop, by the way, that on its very front door that you can see in the media shots has a sign that says masks are required. I guess just not for certain people. So it should say required face coverings, except if you're a liberal that says people need to wear face coverings. But I guess that must be in the small print below it. By the way, when he was there on Nantucket, he stayed at a $30 million estate that's owned by a billionaire whose company spent hundreds of thousands of dollars lobbying the government for Build Back Better funding that Biden was obviously pushing. And the White House, by the way, this big transparent White House, is refusing to reveal how much Biden paid to rent the property from this billionaire lobbyist. Unbelievable. So in sum, he stays at a billionaire's mansion this weekend in Nantucket and ignores the mask mandates that he pushes on a store that says mask mandates. Okay, just wanted to make sure we set that straight. Meanwhile, the person telling him to instate all these mandates, Dr. Fauci, he sparked another firestorm because of this. Take a look.
Criticizing science because I represent science. That's dangerous.
Oh, my God. Wow, I have heard a lot. Never, I am science. Okay, unbelievable that he would say that.